Still bundle week. It's still Friday, though it seems like a very long Friday. I know Angel just got off of one live on Instagram. I was on live with Rachel Detroit this morning at 9:30, and she is delightful. If you have not met her, if you guys missed that, and she may be coming on as a regular monthly guest to do like some workouts because she does personal coaching and health coaching and life coaching and all the things. But it's even way brighter, and it is like 70 degrees here in Durham, North Carolina, which is weird, but I've enjoyed it. How is it where you guys are? And I'm going to just go ahead and let Angel introduce herself.
Thank you, Kathy. Hi, everybody. Great to be here. So, I'm Angel, also known as a Yummy Vegan, and I love coaching the world to thrive on a plant based diet. If you want to go whole food plant based, or raw vegan, or somewhere in between, if you want to sprinkle some junk food vegan in there, we can obviously do that too. And I'm also an author of six books, one of which is in the bundle that Kathy mentioned before. And I'm also the host of a talk show. I like to call it a Yummy Vegan Talk Show, where I have had so far 130 guests. And so those recordings are on Instagram, and some of them are on my YouTube channel as well, a Yummy Vegan. And so, yeah, and as far as basically, you know what, I also, hi there. Yeah, I'm actually in the Northwest, the North, basically Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
And so here it is warming up, thankfully. And so the temperatures are during the day are hovering around 50. And so that, to me, that's a huge improvement compared to the 30s that we had for a couple of months there during the day. So let's see, we have some comments here. Someone's in Seattle, very good. Syracuse, awesome.
So tell us a little bit about what you've put into the bundle too. I mean, also, so do that and in any order you choose. Tell us like so exactly what services you provide and how we can
Yes.
find out more about those services too.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, colder. Oh, someone's over here in the Florida Gulf. Ah, yeah. I see your point about the rains. Yeah, well, that's all a part of it. We have so many different temperatures going on here. Yes. So some of my offerings include, for example, one-on-one coaching, group coaching. I really love helping people wherever they are. If you're curious about going plant-based, or you're really, really ready to go, if you're interested in getting into the raw vegan world, I love that too. Of course, whole food plant-based is awesome as well. We can do whatever you want, as as my counterpart on this journey in my coaching sessions. I also love offering workshops, again, either one on one or in groups. I'm focusing on two topics right now. One is basically plant powered vegan beauty. So, there I talk not only about, skincare and makeup, but I talk about, what we put into our bodies, as well as all kinds, herbs and spices that we can use in different ways, not only in our cooking, but essential oils are awesome as well. Also, I love talking about the whole lifestyle. So, meditation, deep breathing, exercise, fresh air, sunshine, relationships, like the whole lifestyle, I guess, spectrum that all affect our beauty in some ways. Because if we're struggling in some areas, then that's going to kind of dim our light a little bit, and we're not going to glow as much as if we had I guess a more I don't know, a more what do I want to say? A higher vibration, in terms of what we are dealing with in our lives. So yes, hi there. Ah, someone remembers me from Clubhouse. Hi
Clubhouse.
there.
That's how I know. That's how we know each other is from Clubhouse. And one of the things I would love to say too is that it's great and it makes me so happy when I hear from different coaches how they're willing to meet people where they are, because I think I think it happens a lot in the vegan, whole food, plant based communities, but I think in some other communities it's a little bit do it my way or the highway. And,
Yeah.
we don't get a lot of help that way. I think that, you know, I don't think we talked about this before. I know some of my people already know this, but my wife went vegan, and it was Beyond Burgers that got her to go vegan, right? And it's not that I'm like, everyone should have a Beyond Burger every day, because of course they shouldn't, right? There's a lot of oil and stuff in there. But if you have one every 4th of July, the sky doesn't fall unless you're in this tiny, tiny um, bubble of people who have serious, serious health issues that, like,
Yeah.
if you ate that, you would have a triple bypass. So, of course, there are always exceptions to every rule. But in general, I think, especially as women, we spend a lot of time beating ourselves up for not being perfect.
Yeah. That's a good point. I personally started my plant-based journey as a junk food vegan. I ate tons of vegan burgers, French fries, pastries, cookies. If it was labeled vegan, I was like, please, may I have one or two of those? I was just so thrilled that it was just even available. That's number one. Number two, that's where I was. I was familiar with, veggie burgers from way back when. And so for me, converting from a veggie burger to a vegan burger was familiar because I was a vegetarian pescatarian for 20 years before I went vegan. And so for me, it was just more familiar. I've always loved French fries. No matter where I was on the planet, French fries were familiar. Sometimes that was basically the only thing I could get that was, considered vegan, and maybe some olives on the side. You know?
I've been there.
So,
Sometimes if you're traveling and you're not prepared, you end up with what you end up. I mean, one of the things Rachel had said this morning too is that when she travels, there are two things. One, she makes sure she's packing some food, and two, she packs her yoga mat. And I thought those were like
uh,
brilliant ideas.
I agree. Yeah, I had a really cool travel yoga mat. You could fold it and it would just be like a square, like a 12 by 12 square. Oh my gosh, so, so cool. And also, I look at vegan, what we call vegan junk food, in three ways. I guess I would call them like the three C's. So I'm a very curious person. I've always been a foodie. I'm very curious. So if I go somewhere and there is a vegan donut, I am going to say, yes, please. I would like to have one of those vegan donuts. I'm very curious. I also, sometimes it's convenient. Sometimes those are the only options that we find as plant eaters, as vegans, in certain circumstances. And so sometimes it's convenient for me to eat what we consider to be vegan junk food. And the third C for me personally is communication. I want to communicate what I am eating and my journey with others. And that's why I even started a Yummy Vegan in the fall of 2018, because I thought, well, gee whiz, I want to show the world and prove to myself and everyone that I can actually thrive as a vegan even when I'm traveling. Because back then I was traveling more. Now, of course, the last 3 years, not so much, but uh, we know why. And so, my point and my goal still actually is to inspire and motivate and inform, everyone that we can do this. Even if we're at home or if we're traveling, we can do this.
I love that too. And I think that giving ourselves some grace, again, unless it's like a do it or die situation, that yes, I mean, we drive to Florida a couple of times a year, and depending on where we happen to be, like we try to use Happy Cow, and
Yeah.
we every time we find some cool little strange place in the middle of nowhere, which is great. But sometimes you don't, and sometimes there's not a Wendy's to get your little baked potato, because that's
And a
the
salad.
yep.
Those big salads, they used to have those way back when. I don't know if they still have them.
Well, I still miss. Now, obviously, I wouldn't get it now with the cheese. this is
No.
when but they had broccoli and cheese potatoes, and I missed
Oh
that they had
yes, yes,
broccoli because I wish they just had broccoli to put on the
yeah,
potato. And
yes.
so, like, to me, that's like number one. Number two is probably Taco Bell, because again,
Oh
maybe
yeah,
there's a
yes,
Moe's or a Chipotle or something where you can get some tofu and something a
yes,
little bit better.
yes.
But still, like again, this is emergency eating. This isn't like, I think I'd like to go to Taco Bell for dinner tonight. I think we rarely say that, but it's like,
Right.
if you're driving, you've been driving for 5 hours, there's been
Oh
nothing
yeah.
but gas stations, you're like,
Oh yeah.
woohoo, a Taco Bell.
Totally. Totally. I mean, and even when I was a vegetarian pescatarian for over 20 years before I became vegan. And I used to go to Chipotle. I'm not promoting these places. I'm just saying I used to go to Chipotle. I used to order the bowls or the burritos, but I would tell them no sour cream and no cheese. Now, again, I was a vegetarian, pescatarian. I wasn't even plant based or vegan. I didn't even know what this was all about. Quite frankly, I was kind of just living in my own little bubble, I guess. And so, what I had excluded the cheese and the sour cream because I am what we call lactose intolerant. I personally don't believe that that exists. I personally believe we're just not designed to consume, the animal-based versions that we've created that we call, cheese and yogurt and sour cream and all of that. I just don't believe that we're actually designed to eat those. But anyway, so it used to give me a lot of, gas, indigestion, terrible elimination, et cetera, et cetera. And so, yeah, I had kind of already basically converted my dishes to what we call like a plant-based dish nowadays. And again, you can just get like a garden salad somewhere, or like you were saying, a baked potato. I've just I remember one time I was in the Czech Republic in Prague. And again, because I'm such a curious person, I went into a local place, and I just said, "Oh well, I don't know what I'm going to eat, but I just want to be with the locals," because I'd already tried so many beautifully yummy vegan restaurants in Prague, and I went into this local, huge, huge place. It's called I think it's called Locale or Local, and it's like and I went in there and I couldn't find anything other than white rice, and they had like some spinach or something and some potatoes. And I asked specifically, I said, well, is the spinach, does the spinach have like any butter or anything like that? I'm like, is that like only plants? They're like, no, we put butter in it, so I couldn't have that. So I ended up with white rice and white potatoes. I kid you not. And I even posted a photo of it on Instagram. I did not tag the name of the restaurant because it was not a critique of them. It was just to show, listen, if we are committed to eating a plant-based, diet and lifestyle, and, avoiding animal-based as much as we can, sometimes this is just what's going to happen. And so I was super thrilled just to be there, just to be with the locals. But yeah, sometimes, yeah, we have a comment, vegan can be hard in some places, yes. And I actually told the yoga teacher whose studio I was practicing in there in Prague, and she said, "Oh no, Angel, just don't go to the local places. Just stick to the vegan place."
Right. Or have a coffee or a tea or something. I think sometimes it changes. Like one of the reasons, well, we were going to Florida a lot, like near Orlando, because my wife's parents live there. And also, I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so we would go to the little parks and stuff. But we loved eating at Disney because they would have really creative vegan stuff, and they take it very seriously. They have a chef
Yes.
come out.
Hmm.
I'm not supposed to eat gluten, so I can eat it every once in a while. It
Yeah.
doesn't kill me. It just makes my joints swell up a little bit.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
if I'm at Disney, and actually there was like a vegan elderberry croissant that they made.
Oh, oh, that's
You
good.
know I had that. You know I did. But and
So
I
good.
right, and so when I'm at home, I'm not cooking with oil and things like that. I do go out and taste things, and that way I can
Yes.
recreate things. obviously I'm not eating bacon or
Yeah. Yeah.
anything like that, but it,
Yeah.
higher oil, some vegan junk food, and
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
can come back and really translate those into, because I kind of feel like I'm the queen of options. So like my recipes have soy-free options, gluten-free options, oil-free options, salt-free options, sweetener of your choice options. And so like I made last weekend, I ate this morning some lemon coconut muffins, which were the muffins I used to eat when I lived in New York. They're made with white beans and
Yeah.
sweetened with dates. And you know what? They're pretty awesome. I don't miss it. Like when I taste that, it gives me that food memory. So I love the way you talk about being curious about things, because I think, again, it's that perfectionist tendency. Well, now I do this. So if I had a bite of my friend's vegan elderberry croissant, I need to somehow punish myself for that. Right? Oh, Angel, I think you froze, sweetheart. I don't know if you can hear me, but if you, yep, she's going to be coming back in a minute, I suspect. So let's see what we got over here. Oh, and Apple, can you repeat your question from earlier? Because I see, it looks like you're looking for some dehydration recipes. Marilyn is queen dehydrator. Dehydrate almond pulp to make homemade almond flour. Oh, that's great. Oh, let me go back. Use a 50-50 mix of homemade almond flour and store-bought flour. Marilyn, what store-bought gluten-free flour do you use? I was using Krusty's gluten-free, which I like because it had some whole sorghum, some whole brown rice, things like that. Here she comes.
Hi
Hey,
there. Not
you
sure what
did
happened.
I'm not, it's okay. There was a glitch in the matrix and you had to come back in. We were just chatting about flour because I believe Apple was looking for some almond pulp recipes because saw everything but the question. And Marilyn is our dehydrator queen. Like I can't remember if I told you this or not, but she dehydrates pumpkin, grinds it up, and then makes pumpkin puree from it all year long like a
Nice.
boss, right?
Nice. Ooh. And I know there is a vegan who specializes in basically sharing the vegan items in Disney.
Yes, there's there are a couple of communities, and if anybody wants to ask a question on this, I will come back and put it. I think it's Veg Disney on.
I gotta look at.
It's
Yeah.
so awesome. They share all the things. It's a really fun group, and so because they have, I don't know, like the food and wine festival, and so you can wait until someone else goes through and tastes all of them, so you only spend money on the ones that are really yummy and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
There is a I don't know, you call her like an Instagrammer, Vegan Disney World, and she shares the vegan food in Disney World.
Oh, I love that. Susan's saying one of the best vegan meals I had in Disney was at MGM, was the polenta in the Italian restaurant. And they're
Nice.
doing more faux meats, but you
Yeah.
can still get some good things. And also, if you tell them what, if you go to the fancy restaurants, they're not cheap. So
Yeah.
let's just, but we love Jico and Boma in the Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is gorgeous. So even we finally stayed there the end of last year for like 2 nights. It was we haven't traveled in 3 years.
I
Let's
know.
stay in the fancy hotel. But so
Hmm.
we just would go downstairs and they're literally, and also it's all very humane. I did a lot of research. Other people have done way more research than me. These animals are taken really good care of, so they're not abused in any way. But so I could go out on the balcony and see giraffes, and they're totally chilling, going wherever they want, enjoying their lives. But if you go to Jico or somewhere else like that, they will make you a meal. Or Boma's a buffet, So I said I couldn't have gluten, and it's a buffet. They brought me like a 7-course meal.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
and that's a good example. I'm glad you mentioned that, Kathy, because a lot of us, and I know I felt like this early in on my journey. A lot of us, even when I was vegetarian, pescatarian, a lot of us feel embarrassed and shy to really ask for what we want. But I have found that a lot of places are super happy to accommodate us. And I've even heard, and maybe there's some chefs in the audience, maybe you know this, Kathy, that a lot of chefs really love the challenge, to be creative and to make something special and unique for a customer. And so I've just learned along my journey to just gently and kindly mention that I don't eat animal based, and so no, and then the next thing I know, they're creating something beautiful. So
and something you would never think to ask for. Like I still go back to that Boma meal sometimes and think when I'm starting to recipe develop to get some of those neat flavors that I had. And there's a man, Chef TJ, and he is at Disney and he's in the veg. Well, everybody outs him wherever he goes.
ah,
Because he was working at like Wilderness, whatever the campground one, like, and it's like the not most vegan friendly place at all because it's like barbecue and coleslaw and stuff. And he brought out this magnificent multi-course meal.
amazing. Ah, we have a comment. He's amazing.
That's
Yeah.
oh, somebody else knows about him, yeah. And he's just so happy, and he like makes these tower Sunday things with like, oh my gosh, it's just amazing. Um, I'm trying to think of what else. So now we've totally gotten off topic, which is not uncommon. But
It's
I'm just
okay. How about you tell us about what you contributed to the bundle?
I did kitchen appliance wizardry. So I did a mini bundle in the bundle of 4 classes. So each of my classes usually cost $35. The bundle is $49. So it's just, even if you just get my classes and Angel stuff, you've more than paid for it. So I have like a how to start cooking in your instant pot class, a dehydrator powders class where we make vegetable bouillon, and I know Marilyn went to that class, although Marilyn didn't need to go to that class. That was very sweet. Um, and there's an air fryer class and a class that has both instant pot and slow cooker directions. So if either A, you can't afford an instant pot yet, you can afford a thrift store slow cooker. Trust me, I find them all the time. And so those are really good ways. So let's talk. I want to hear from you about your kind of views on spices and herbs, and if you want to talk about cooking and you were also talking about beyond cooking, that would be really interesting.
Totally, totally. I love the comment there, kitchen toy fun. That's really cute. And what I want to say too, about your bundle offer is that it complements some of the other bundle items, because let's say you learn how to use a dehydrator in one of Kathy's courses, you can then parlay that and apply that to some of the raw vegan recipes that include using a dehydrator. If you want to, take advantage of Kathy's offering with the instant pot and the instant cooking, the one pot cooking, etc., then you can kind of translate that to another offering, like Chef AJ, for example, has a one pot cooking, item book in the bundle. A big thank you to Chef AJ, the real Chef AJ, and Lissa, Raw Food Romance, for organizing this bundle with all of the collaborators here. So I'm super grateful to them for including me and everyone else in the bundle. I super love herbs and spices in my recipes. So in my detox smoothie, I have sweet and savory detox smoothies. I saw someone in the comments saying that they like savory. So my detox smoothies are both sweet and savory, and I super love herbs and spices. I include a lot of herbs and spices in my recipes. I actually personally use more herbs and spices than I included in the recipes because I didn't want to like overwhelm people. But that's just my personal style to really kind of throw it all in there. well, not all, but throw a few in there to kind of get the balance between the sweet and the savory, the little umami flavors, maybe a little bit of bitter, a little bit of spicy going on. So yeah, I really like to kind of mix and match. I don't really think that we need to choose just one or the other, unless of course that's our preference. Then of course we're going to choose one or the other. And so what I also wanted to just highlight is that herbs and spices, first of all, when I was between 16 and 18, I used to visit a an elderly woman as a part of my like kind of like community service for school. And she was just amazing, and one of her mottos in life is variety is the spice of life. And when I learned that, it just stuck with me all these years. So I just wanted to kind of use that as a little header, a little title of what I'm going to be talking about regarding herbs and spices. And so, it's just known that across, centuries and centuries, herbs and spices have been used in cooking and for medicinal purposes. This is not medical advice. I'm just reporting what's in the medical documents out there. And spices are not only for flavor, you get aroma and color and texture in your food and in your beverages. So that's one of the reasons why I like to put them in my smoothies as well. And you can also use them, for health reasons. I'm just looking here. At the comments just so I
There's
don't
lots
miss
of
anything.
highs. So my community talks to each other in the comments too. So, which I love, and that's another thing I'm loving about like the vegan bundle, right? Because you have a community that probably does the same thing, and now our communities can kind of overlap and get what they need from all of us, which is, and someone had said, Linda, thanks for all the enlightenment y'all are bringing to all of us this week, because it's just such a special week that you get to have so much content flowing freely, and most of the things will be around forever. I can't remember if Instagram lives are around forever. Instagram lives are, right? Just not the
They they are, but I have found that sometimes when I go back like 2 years, sometimes I'm not able to hit the play button. So it really depends. I'm not quite sure what happens there.
Okay, so at least for the next couple of weeks, go over to
Oh
Instagram, catch
yes,
up
for
all your.
months and it's like up like over a year or two. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because it can be hard to consume all the things that are going on. Like if I opened up Instagram right now, I'm going to see all the lives happening, and you can't be in all of them at once, but you can rewatch them for sure. And I think that herbs and spices, like the way that you're talking about it with your smoothies, I've never thought about it quite that way. Um, but it's almost like a cocktail. So I've been
Yeah.
making a lot of mocktails. So
Yes.
using bitters, right? Using citrus juices, using sometimes fresh herbs, using.
Yes.
So
I
it's
agree. And I
very
just
cool.
wanted to say too, like a lot of people, like let's say you are a baker, you love baking, or you're on the standard diet, so you're using a lot of herbs and spices, with whatever you're cooking on the standard diet. What is beautiful is that you can transfer your spice rack content onto your plant-based items. So when you're baking and cooking and mixing and matching the over 2,000 recipes in this bundle, you can actually use the spices that you already have in your spice rack. Some of the common ones are cinnamon and ginger, nutmeg, allspice, of course, garlic, onion, mint, fennel seed is one of my favorites, cardamom, cayenne. It just goes on and on and on as to what we can use not only for baking or stews or stir fries or raw dishes. And so that's what I love about spices and herbs, is that you can just transfer them over from the standard diet over to a plant-based vegan diet and enjoy the same flavors. And one last point before I hand it back to you, Kathy, is a lot of people really what they're really missing on the standard diet is really the element of the herbs and the spices. It's not so much the animal base that they're missing. They're missing the familiar flavors of the onion and the garlic, of the cinnamon, of the nutmeg. Or the if people like spicy, and spicy is being found to be super healthy as well. So the cayennes, the paprikas, the turmerics, the cumins, the black peppers. So you can just transfer those over into these recipes. Again, over 2,000 recipes in this bundle.
It is pretty. That's me. I switch the views, and sometimes the mute doesn't do both views. Duh. So I love like thyme with lemon. I love rosemary with chocolate chip cookies. So there's
Savory.
some different ways you can do it. And I grew up in the South. So in the South, we eat smoky foods. A lot of smoky foods that come from disgusting pieces of things. So I didn't even like it when I was young eating meat, but like smoked fat back is a big thing. And also, as a warning to all of you driving through the South or traveling through the South, make sure to ask if there's any meat ingredients in the vegetables, because we have vegetable plates everywhere, and you might be like, sweet, I'm gonna get some green beans and some potatoes. No, there's meat in all of it, like all of it. So but it's easy to recreate those flavors. So like people in my area that are trying to do it, because there's a really great pure liquid smoke that you can get on Amazon. It's just liquid smoke. Doesn't have caramel coloring in it. Doesn't have any weird things. And liquid smoke isn't like this magical chemical combination. Someone burned wood and they catch the condensation. So that's how liquid smoke is made. And then some will go ahead and put some of these other ingredients in. So it's always good to read the ingredients. But let's say you're like, I just can't get with that. That's too weird for me. Smoked paprika is beautiful. And it's another way to do it. And I was talking with someone, they were saying they always put some mustard, like ground mustard, on broccoli yesterday because it helps the absorption of certain nutritional ingredients. And I was like, oh, I use a little bit of dried mustard, nutritional yeast, in a cheese sauce that I put over broccoli.
That's beautiful.
Right?
I I love that. So again, see, this is the beauty of herbs and spices, and also regarding, even regardless of what kind of cultural cuisines you're into. If you want, yeah, it just spans the whole globe. So whether you are cooking, the North American way, the Latin way, the French way, the Italian way, I don't know, the Nordic way, the Asian way. What is really cool too that I noticed in this bundle is that there are, like, culturally diverse dishes in some of the books. So you have a Japanese book, a Mexican recipe book as well, Japanese recipes, Asian recipes. It's just really beautiful, like, to see, the wide variety of cultures that are represented, as well, of course, of all the traditional recipes, and also some what I would consider like new age recipes, where people are just super creative and they're just like creating their own, creations, I guess, and recipes. So that's super cool too. Oh, we have a comment. I love mustard on sprouts. I make my own ground mustard. Very nice. Oh,
It's
another comment. Certain spices connect me to my ancestors. I love making foods with those spices and thinking that that is beautiful. And I'm so happy you said that, because certain spices connect me and kind of remind me of certain people in my life because I experienced those spices with them. And so I love that comment because I feel the same way.
I know apple's great. We love apples so much here in the community. She's got such a way about things and is so experimental and really branches out. We've got a wealth of knowledge, but I do think too, it's one of the things that's interesting to me is, so I have some flavors that I will say I like or sometimes miss from my pre vegan, pre vegetarian days. But it's not actually what you think it is. So someone would be like, well, if you're missing pork barbecue, why aren't you eating pork barbecue? Because I'm not missing that. I'm missing the spices. I'm missing the sauces. I'm missing the flavors. And I don't care if it's soy curls, shredded mushrooms, shredded sweet potatoes with my homemade barbecue sauce on it. I am just as happy to pile that on a sandwich. And my body is happier. And when I became vegetarian in 1983, I was just 18 years old and just learning how to cook, because yet cooking meat obviously didn't work out. I was like, oh, I hadn't done that before. That's nasty. Is how I felt. So it was pretty easy. But at that point, cultural cuisine was not as elevated or accessible as it is now. And I was living in Winston-Salem, which back then didn't have, I don't think we had an Indian restaurant then, but there were several Chinese restaurants. There were some other different foods. I learned how to cook from Molly Katzen's cookbooks, like Moosewood and Enchanted Broccoli Forest. And her cultural background is more of like Eastern European Jewish background. So some of my cuisine now is Eastern European Jewish cuisine. So it's like you get to pick. I didn't have that experience growing up exactly, but from 18 on, and when I lived in New York, I was still a vegetarian. I ate at kosher dairy restaurants. But like when you cut something out, people think about it being a loss instead of having this space that gets to be filled with new exciting things. Like in Durham, there's a bazillion Indian markets, there's Hispanic markets, there's all different kinds of Asian markets. Like I can go to a Japanese market, I can go to a Chinese market, we have an H Mart now not far away. And so because of that, I feel so lucky, because if I see something, I don't know what it is, it's vegetarian, vegan really is what I mean. In Asian cuisine, usually vegetarian hooks it up for all of us. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of dairy and eggs. Come here, Fergus. Come say hi.
Hello. Oh, a little stretch, huh?
Come
a little
here.
bow there, play bow.
Look at the peoples.
Hello.
He's only about a year, and he came and found us.
Amazing.
So he's a little bit of, he's got a big personality, and like now he's licking his paw and looking away, and he'll like come and smack me.
That means he's happy.
He is very happy, because he was living outside while we were trying to figure out if someone owned him already.
Right.
So, but he's been living with us now, wow, I guess since the fall, so a long time.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
lucky. I love that.
He's so spoiled. He basically has his own apartment downstairs.
Oh,
he has the guest room, and he has tunnels, and he has cat trees, and he has his own personal water fountain down there, which he won't drink out of. He only wants to drink out of the bathroom sink.
Well, there you go. I love it. Such unique personalities,
We haven't had a young animal in a long time, so we lost our last elder cat in the past few months. And she was...
Sorry about that.
Cheryl, how old was Moxie? 19 or 8?
Oh,
She was
amazing.
like a month shy of her 19.
She was a month under being 19 years old.
Beautiful.
A few years ago, we lost another cat that was like, I think she was 19 or 20.
Amazing.
So when they're young, they're kind of annoying, but they're fun. And then when they get really, then you like have this perfect life, and then they get old and you are their slave.
Ah!
We had a dog who was like, she was wonderful and also lived older than she should have. She would come back here. So this is an open layout, so she could see us watching TV. She would bark until one of us would sit behind the counter.
There you go.
And watch TV with her when she could be on the couch with us.
That is amazing. They're so intelligent,
Oh,
They
they,
really are, you know. I mean, I had a dog and she I mean, I felt like she was more intelligent than me sometimes. Like she would outsmart me like every day of the week, and I just learned so much from her. And so I just think, you know, you know, the sentient beings whom we call animals are just amazing companions and teachers, you know, on this life journey. We have some comments here. I love kitties. They play by their own rules. One comment I really think is important, and it links back to something that you were saying earlier, Kathy. We have a comment here. My neighbor feels sorry for me. She
Mhm.
doesn't think I eat anything, and I gave up so much. And you were, you know, saying that it's kind of like an opportunity to kind of, you know, eat some new dishes. And I personally found when I became plant-based vegan, I discovered new fruits and vegetables that I had not previously eaten. I had not, I kid you not, like growing up, I had not eaten like, you know, rutabaga and fennel and, you know, all these different varieties of certain fruits like persimmons and like a jillion, bazillion, you know, different varieties of apples and pears and citrus. And what was it? The other day in the fall, I had tomatillo for the first time. These beautiful, these
Oh,
beautiful little tomatoes, for those who don't know, I'll hand it to you in a sec, Kathy. Sorry about that, but beautiful little tomatoes, and they are wrapped in their own gift box from nature. They are wrapped in these beautiful leaves that I was blown away. I thought, oh my gosh, tomatillos! I've heard of them. I've never seen them up close. They were organic. They were, you know, grown here on the West Coast, and I was like, I'm gonna try these, and they were like eating candy in a form of a tomato, besides their physical beauty. So what I'm trying to say, and I could just go on and on, you know, new herbs and spices that I had not grown up with, cardamom, fennel, etc., etc. So what I'm saying is that this plant-based vegan journey for me has opened up a whole new world of plant food. So back to you, Kathy.
oh, I was just gonna say because I love tomatillos. I just think they're amazing, and I think they're a relative. They may be a relative of ground cherry and gooseberries because they have that same husk on them. And if you have a Hispanic market near you, you will not believe how inexpensive things like tomatillos, dried chilies, and the assortment. So I've gotten purple tomatillos. They're beautiful. They're so beautiful. And sometimes at the Durham's Farmers Market, we can get some things like that as well. They have a lot. There are a lot of people here that don't use pesticides but aren't growing organically because of the cost and time of filling out the organic paperwork. So I think you're in California, right?
I'm in Oregon, just north of
Oh, that's
California.
right. You said that earlier. I'm so
No
sorry.
worries. No worries.
I don't know why I decided you lived in California. I think when we were on Clubhouse. I don't know why I decided that. But I
Well,
think over
someone
there,
recently told me, sorry, someone recently, a friend of mine, he said, you should move to California. You should consider that.
oh, that's funny. Well, maybe the universe is speaking through me or something. I don't know. But I think there they may, because there's so many organic farmers there, I think the state may help with some of that stuff. So I kind of wanted to mention to everyone because, like, you might, if you have local farmers who aren't using pesticides and different things like that, you might, and maybe you can't afford the organics that you're finding in Whole Foods or regular supermarkets. Try and suss out where that is. If you're in my area, if you're in Durham, North Carolina, the Durham's Farmers Market has it, and so does Hillsborough Farmers Market. I love going to the Raleigh State Farmers Market, but most of them are commercial growers. But we are able to get, well, actually, you're able, this is not going to impress you at all. We're able to get a bunch of apples from Asheville comes down. So they'll have
Yes.
15, 20 varieties of apples.
And the pears too, like multiple varieties of pears. Out here, I'm seeing more varieties of grapes than I did on the East Coast. You know, and someone is actually chiming in here and saying that, you know, you're so right. I'm eating so much more in the variety. I totally agree with that. Someone else said, I was pescatarian and went whole food plant based last May. I didn't give up much. Exactly. And now, you can make your own, whole food plant based versions of tuna, of shrimp, fish. I mean, it just goes on and on. Scallops and oysters,
Hmm.
with different mushrooms if you like mushrooms, or there's jackfruit where you can make your crab cakes. I had some amazing crab cakes in a plant-based restaurant some time ago, and honestly, it tasted just like what I remember crab cakes tasted like way back when. So definitely, you all are so right here in the comments. So thank you for chiming in.
That's awesome. And Lydia's saying she saw tomatillos for the first time in a regular grocery store, and I was shocked. And it's so
Me
cool
too.
how things are really branching out. The more that our palate gets broader, like, because okay, let's say wouldn't start with me. Let's say it would start with my friend who came from Mexico, gives me some tomatillo salsa and shows me how to make it. Then I show somebody else how to make it, and then before you know it, everyone's like, "Oh my God, tomatillo salsa is the best. Why have we not been making this our whole lives?" Which is really cool. And I'm just going to quickly, this is off topic, but Anthony is asking, because I've been demoing a lot of milk makers, which one is the best. It's not about which one is the best, it's about which one is the best for you. If you want to go look on healthyslowcooking.com, look up plant-based milk maker. I have an article explaining the differences in all of them, so go there. If that doesn't help you, email me at kathyhester@gmail.com and I'll respond back to you. But tell me things like how big your family is, how often you want to make milk, what you want to make milk out of, do you want to filter it or not filter it? Okay, so give me those informations and we'll work for it. And Mona
Yeah,
was,
and
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Mona was saying in Colorado, tomatillos are everywhere and that she misses Colorado.
Yeah, and when I posted a video of the tomatillos and I showed like how beautiful like their dresses were. I call them like their dresses, like their gift wrapping, their packaging from nature. Someone I guess who had seen my reel or something, she was basically like, wow. Basically, she wasn't even familiar with them. So this also, like you were saying earlier, it gives us the opportunity to share with others, and we all learn from each other, like and that's really beautiful too.
That's awesome. And I think, because that's how we start to get things like a long time ago, I don't know, like 5 years ago, I didn't know the difference between Mexican oregano and regular oregano. And now, when, like in my classes, we talk about Mexican oregano, and marjoram. Marjoram is one of my favorite herbs for soups and stews. It just, I don't know it. I don't know if it's from me growing up with Moosewood in my 20s and Laurel's Kitchen and that, but it just seems like those very herby vegetable soups.
And so savory and warming, for those who are in colder climates or when the weather becomes cold. These herbs and spices are very warming and soothing and comforting as well. And for some of us, it brings back beautiful memories, or for some of us, it will create new memories, new rituals, new habits, and new recipes as well.
Right. When you mentioned, because cardamom is one of my favorites, like my favorites, and like I love Indian food. I cook a lot of Indian food, and like I try to research, and I'm friends with a lot of Indian bloggers who are just like, I can't even believe that you know what that is. I'm going to tell my mom. And I'm like, it's not that crazy that I know. But like, I'll go to the Indian market, and there are two things that are awesome to do. One is just to stand there in one place, because I'll stand in one place because I'm looking at all the beans to see if I've missed anything that I've ever tried. And some cute little old lady, this will happen in many ethnic markets, will come over and give me a recipe. And I just love it.
That's
And so,
amazing.
uh-huh. And I do know that I'm very approachable. I think the same thing would happen to you, but like if you're like, they may
Yeah,
not
no,
come
people
up.
come up to me all the time and say stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you just look friendly and then they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that poor lady, she doesn't know how to make this. Let me tell her. And I do that in the spices. Every time I go back, I'm like, did I miss something? I found black cardamom, which, if you know it,
Oh,
it's
I don't
smoked
think I've seen that.
cardamom.
I don't think I've
Smoked
seen that.
cardamom. Let me see if
Ah. Oh, what a beautiful spice drawer.
thank you.
Congratulations. Amazing. You are so organized. That's beautiful.
Can you guys kind of see?
Oh,
So they're
I love
big
that.
and they smell like a campfire.
What, now, do you grind them or grate them, or do you just pop them in there and let them do their thing?
I pop them in there and let them do their thing. They'll expand so you can see them to pick them out. I
Ah,
don't think
got
anything horrible would happen if you bit into it, but it's not that super pleasant.
No, but it's like some people put the whole pepper in the dish and then they take the pepper out, or the bay leaves. They'll put the bay leaves in and then they'll take them out because then all of the flavors, and the aroma kind of like emanates from it. But you don't want to consume like the leaf or the shell of the pepper, the skin of the pepper. So, but you've gotten all so many benefits from the herb already.
Gina says, I need to practice my bewildered look for my Indian stores. Yes, you do. And it is the small Indian market, because we have a bunch of them, but there's this small one that was across from an Indian restaurant a friend of mine owned, which also I ate there every day when I had a day job. So that's also what spurred my love for this. And the lady there, I've been buying dosa and utapam batter, which is a fermented rice and skinned and split lentil batter that's really good for you. And so they had like a healthier version there that had like brown rice and quinoa and stuff like that. And I would buy it, and finally she just looked at me and she was like, you can make your own. And I was like, so I was shamed into making my own utapam batter, which is awesome because then I made it and it's in one of my cookbooks and it's on my blog. And it's such a great thing. If I know we're going to be really busy, in my Vitamix I put a cup of rice, a cup of quinoa, a cup of millet, a cup of uradal. You soak it, then you blend it up and you put it in you don't have to have an Instant Pot. I put on the Instant Pot on the yogurt setting overnight, and then you can make pancakes and crepes all week and just put potato filling in or something like that. And it's usually the things at the Indian market are larger portions, but they're cheap, right?
And what's good about what you're talking about too, a lot of the ingredients that you mentioned are gluten free, and a lot of people are very, very focused on gluten free, more so now than let's say 30, 40, 50 years ago. So I think that's really awesome that you're like offering these ideas and tips to people who want to stay away from the gluten.
Yeah, I wish that I wish that I could eat all the gluten. Sometimes, but sometimes it's better. I mean, I also don't mind. There's a possibility. Everyone know, you guys all know I love appliances, so I've been kind of angling to get a grain mill so I can start making some bean flours and stuff and do some reviews. But fingers crossed.
That's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. And let's see. Marilyn says she misses gluten. Marilyn has some real specific allergies and she can't have corn. Which, because of all the, when we talk about additives, and some things matter more to us as individuals than others, right? Like maybe you're trying to avoid sugar, so you're like, oh my gosh, sugar is in everything. But corn literally isn't about everything. Like some form of cornstarch or corn, modified corn, this, that, and the other. So that's another reason. The more you're making at home, the cleaner you're eating, the easier it is to take out things that bother you.
Yeah, and I do think that it also matters if it's GMO or non-GMO, if it's organic or not organic. I see someone here said I do occasionally have gluten, but only organic. Yeah, I've heard that, for some people, it really does make a difference, organic, non-organic, GMO, non-GMO. So, I guess that's something to take into consideration as well.
and certainly to kind of try it out. Like there's a place called One Mighty Mill. I'm trying to remember. I'm looking over here. I did buy some flour I haven't used. That's at the bottom on top of a bunch of stuff. Let's see what's. Yeah, it is organic as well. Organic stone ground whole wheat flour and wheat flour in it. So
Yeah.
the reason I'm mentioning this is another person who is gluten free. They make bagels and breads. So what they do that's different here, I guess I'll put it here so you guys are going to ask me in a minute what it is they get the whole grain, they grind it and immediately make it into breads and flours so it doesn't sit around. And that's
Ah,
another thing people talk about that can be an issue for people.
yeah.
And
Now,
since I'm
does
not,
that involve because it's like avoiding some level of fermentation, maybe? I'm just wondering.
some people are saying it gets stored so long there could be some mold spores
Yeah.
in it and things. And
Yeah.
I don't know the science behind that at all.
Yeah.
So hear it from me as hearsay. And if it rings true to you, do research,
Yeah.
okay? Because if I know something and I've done my research, I'll tell you. But like, there's another person who was having some gluten sensitivity who recommended these because I do love a bagel. I also miss crumpets. I miss crumpets so bad, so I need to start making some gluten-free crumpets.
And
But
I think that's the beauty of this too. Like you can use these as challenges, as opportunities to be creative as you are, and just kind of experiment with different ingredients.
absolutely, and I think it's just so awesome to be able to let yourself be exposed to a whole new world. Like, and
Totally.
but I'm definitely like you in that I am highly curious. So even when I was vegetarian, if I could try something that was vegetarian from some other place, if I was going to like it or not,
Yeah, yeah,
or I had no idea,
yeah.
like a Zimbabwean restaurant opened in Durham before COVID. It's still here, yay. And so getting to try some of those delicious flavors when I am more familiar with Ethiopian food.
Yes.
Right, and
Yes.
oh my gosh, Ethiopian food is delicious. But
Yes. And
so I've
really, really
always,
good for folks like us who want to, stay plant-based.
I know, right? But and all of the cuisines have one thing in common that we've been talking about, which is herbs and spices.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I guess growing up because my mother, bless her soul, used so many herbs and spices. And so I just, to me, it's just such a beautiful memory, nostalgia, and plus just all the yummy colors and flavors. I just love it. So definitely I can relate to that.
That's amazing. Well, do you have anything else you would like to share before we kind of wrap things up? I know you probably have a busy day, and hopefully I haven't kept you over schedule.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I want to thank you so much, Kathy. I want to thank your community. They're so vibrant here in the chat, and those who are watching on the replay as well. Thank you so much for joining and chiming in. Yeah, and so I'm just happy to be a part of this bundle with Kathy. It does end on Sunday, basically 1 minute before midnight Pacific time. So, that may be 3 a.m. if you're on the East Coast. That may be 8 or 9 or 10 a.m. if you're in Europe. That may be a little bit later, on the 13th on Monday, wherever you are in the world. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful bundle. I encourage you to check out the links in either of our bios. And I'm a yummy vegan on Instagram and on YouTube. Yeah, and my website is ayummyveganlifestyle.com. And I'm just super happy. We got some thank yous in here. Thank you so much, everybody. Lydia, good to see you in the chat as well. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Kathy, of course.
Oh, thank you for being on and sharing all this great information and having such a lovely conversation. I've really enjoyed spending some time with you, and you'll have to come back and talk to my people again sometime because you're delightful.
Oh, thank you, Kathy. And for those who missed my Instagram live with Kathy a few days ago, you can hop on over to my Instagram page, A Yummy Vegan, and you'll see our chat over there. That was super cool as well. Um, Oh, good, Lydia. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for all the beautiful comments here. And Kathy, you've created an awesome, beautiful community. So, brava and congratulations to you and them.
Thank you. I'm very fortunate to be in the company of these amazing, supportive individuals. And so, if you're new here, make sure that you are asking questions. Well, me, Maryland, Apple, somebody's going to answer you, I promise you. And if you're being a little bit shy and you have a question, don't forget you can email me at kathyhester@gmail.com and I will get back in touch with you. And don't forget, like what Angel was saying, the bundle ends on Sunday. So now I'm going to start sounding a little more like your librarian. So if you've been thinking about it, you can think about it for maybe like another 24 hours, but then you need to get serious because you're going to ask one of us, can I get this? One minute after it's gone, and we do not have the capabilities. It is somebody else's bundle. They have the keys to the shop. We can't get you in. I tried last year. I tried hard, and it was absolutely no. So I'm gonna let you know because I'm such a little soft fuzzy person that I'm usually like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and and this whole experience reminds me of the popular saying "fear of missing out," FOMO. And in this instance, FOMO is real because if you miss it, then you miss it. In other words, you're not going to get an opportunity again to get this exact bundle ever again because all of the items, all 122 items, including over 2,000 recipes, including some of mine, and the item, the offerings that Kathy has in there. These are unique to this bundle. So let's say you got the same bundle last year, or you get this bundle next year. These exact items will not be in that bundle. So I just want to encourage you and invite you to check out the links in either of our bios. Get the bundle because it's a beautiful offering. It's evergreen. You don't have to be whole food, plant based, or vegan. You might just be curious. You may not be curious. You just want to, I don't know, do some weightlifting, try out some new recipes, get some self-care, some yoga,
Mm-hmm.
so much, health-based and science-based information in there as well from over a dozen doctors from all over the world. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that, Kathy. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I have another live at 6 with Elspeth, and she's going to make something yummy for us. So show up again then. And I'm going to have supposedly no lives tomorrow because I'm teaching a live class, but I might show up and make something. We'll just see. It'll be impromptu. But make sure that you're following a yummy vegan over on Instagram. So if you're not part of Kathy's Cooking Club taking my class tomorrow, that you can you're doing lives tomorrow, aren't you, Angel? Are you?
I'll do some tomorrow. Yes,
Yeah. So
and on Sunday.
on Sunday right now I'm doing 2. So so far. And then Monday I'm staying in bed.
Yeah, it's gonna be exhausting, right? After this ten
We'll have
days.
to use the bundle to get all our self-care ideas. I think we should have like a little a contributor support group for next week where each one of us like goes, okay, today I'm going to show you how to make something cozy.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Oh, that's awesome, you guys. Okay, I'm going to let you go and then have an amazing weekend. And hopefully, I'll get to talk to you really soon.
Thank you, Kathy. Same to you. Same to your community. And take care, everybody. So I'm gonna skip and dip out of here and let you do your thing, Kathy.
Okay,
Take care. Thank you. Bye
bye,
bye.
everybody.